All right, folks, we got a new interior real estate photography tutorial for you today. And now, again, every situation is different. That's why I could probably do like 5 million videos on every different situation. So here is yet another situation. And again, if you've seen my channel long enough, you know that I'm not a fan of the lights being on, but the realtor wanted them on, so you have to do it. I mean, it really doesn't matter when it comes down to it, but honestly I prefer lights off. It's just easier. You don't have to deal with blown out lights. I mean, if these weren't on, I could brighten the room by dropping the exposure, by dropping the shutter speed, and all I would be doing is blowing out the windows. And of course, we correct windows very easily with flash. That's why I prefer lights off. So, with that being said, we got color cast issues, and the reason why I was okay with, I'm okay either way. But if they prefer lights on, I go with the lights on. If they don't prefer, if they are okay with either or, then I'll go with the lights off. But in this case, I actually probably would have done at least the under cabinet lights. So without these under cabinet lights on, you wouldn't even know that they existed, obviously. So you got to be careful when you're doing the lights off method that you don't neglect certain things like under cabinet lighting, for example. We're going to get into a lot of things with this tutorial today. We're going to be talking about different ways to color correct in Lightroom. We're going to look at different ways to correct for verticals and distortion and all that. So let's get into it right now. We are on the EM1 Mark II today. That is a small Micro Four Thirds camera by Olympus, and we're shooting on that 7.5 millimeter, that Laowa lens. That is a 15 millimeter equivalent. And I find that 16 millimeters is perfect. You really don't need any other focal length. That covers you for pretty much your smallest bathroom to your biggest living room. I love it. So let's do this. Let's start with my Laowa, first bump. And a lot of people ask me, what does that even do? So I'm going to show you what it does. All it really does is it does my Laowa correction. So if you're getting into this and you're watching my tutorials and you're taking my advice and you're going the Micro Four Thirds route, check this out. You make sure, because I always thought down here it was I thought it was like a misprint or something, and OOWA was the profile for the Laowa. It's not. It gets you close, which is why I thought it was this. The 15 millimeter wide angle lens. It's very close. So we're going to Command Z, but it does not do anything for your vignetting, and that lens vignettes quite a bit when the RAWs are brought into Lightroom. So you're going to just choose the 15 millimeter f2.0D, and that is the lens, and that's what it does when you toggle that on and off. Look at the vignetting right now, and then with that, and you can see that it's correcting that distortion. So the other thing I like to do for my initial bump is to turn it to the profile to Adobe Standard up here. That just it flattens it out more so than the Adobe Color, I think it is what it's called. Yeah, Adobe Color. It's a little less contrasty and it has less saturation, which, you know, for real estate photography, you're already pushing the limits with the dynamic range. You start adding in contrast and saturation, that just increases actually, it decreases your dynamic range in a sense. So we're also going to talk about how to delete certain objects, and of course this is probably nothing new, but we left the keys on the table here. I'm going to show you a quick way to delete that. You could try to do it with the clone stamp tool. Let's see if that works. Let's just do this and see. Yeah, well, you could take this and drag this somewhere else in the image like that. That gets you pretty close. We're going to Command Z to undo that, and I'll show you how to do that in Photoshop. Let's get moving. So the other thing I like to do, white balance is always a tricky thing. You could try, so I leave my camera on auto white balance, and then, you know, either as shot or I try auto. Auto in this case looks a little warm. So here's the other trick. I'm just going to leave it on as shot, and we're going to come down here to the yellows, and I'm going to put the yellow maybe at the second hash mark, and then we're going to take the orange and move that to the first hash mark. And if we toggle that on and off, we can see that that definitely got rid of a lot of color cast anyway. Now, if there was a couch here with a bright orange pillow, we would be careful that we're not completely taking out the orange out of that. But since this wood is casting an orange cast to it, it's working in this case. The other tip that I'm going to leave you with is your verticals. You can click vertical on this, and sometimes it does an okay job, but you know what? Sometimes auto, watch this, auto actually does a better job in this situation. And guided would be another method, but you actually have to physically draw. You have to draw at least 2 verticals or a vertical and a horizontal line. Let's see what that does. That pulls it. Let's see what vertical does. Yeah, vertical shifts it and then auto pulls it in and does even a better job, in my opinion. Now, once you've done all your little tweaks and settings for that first image, just come over here and go copy. Just click check all if some of these are missed, and then hit copy. So this was my ambient layer. This is gonna be our flash. We have 2 flash shots, and I'll explain why in a second. Remember, histogram, we wanna push that right of center. And then we have some window glare right here. We're just gonna come over to here. This was our correction for that, and then paste those settings in, push that histogram to brighten that image up. Now, let's take all 3 of these into Photoshop. Okay, once you're in Photoshop, we can try doing luminosity mode for the, yeah, I don't mind that. That definitely helps. So the other thing I like to do is I just like to paint back in the flash underneath. So I am literally just gonna do a layer mask and leave it white and make black my selection with my brush. My flow is at 4%. I'm just gonna start brushing over these windows to get that window pull in. And we're also gonna have to do that with the lights because we had the lights on. Not a big deal in this situation. We're just gonna slowly brush that light in so it's not blown out. Same with this one. And these can lights, this window. And I've recently gone back to shooting with a umbrella because that would have actually eliminated a lot of these shadows, especially this right here. So you're gonna have to come back in and paint back in to get rid of that shadow. And this shadow up here where it clipped the cupboard there. That looks pretty good to me. Maybe we could soften this one up just a little more. Or I mean, get rid of some of that. Let's see if there's any unnecessary shadows. Paint that window a little bit more. So now all we have to do to fix that reflection glare is bring up our repair layer to the top. And this is where you will need to do a layer mask, Command I to invert. And I'm using the left bracket on my keyboard to make it smaller. The right bracket makes your brush bigger. And there we go. So that is pretty much done. What we can do is we can go up here and take the lasso tool, zoom in a little bit, circle these keys, and then just do generate a fill. You can say remove, and then hit generate. And that took all about 5 seconds. Let's bring that down. And the nice thing about the AI is just you get 3 different versions to choose from. These all look really good if we toggle that on and off. There's no way you'd be able to tell those keys were there. So that's it for this image, I believe. And we'll just flatten this image. Command S to save it. Back into Lightroom is that TIFF file, and I'm just gonna do my interior final bump, which I bring the highlights down a little bit more, bump the shadows again. I'm gonna hold down Option on my whites, and I'm gonna pull, yep, see, I don't wanna clip those whites, so we're right there. Blacks, let's see, we're clipping the blacks a little bit, but not horrible. Let off. To me, that looks really good. So, again, let's pick out a different situation here. So these rooms are always gonna be tough, where you have, you know, they're not just your standard bedroom, but let's go to a simple bedroom using our presets that we already have paste in with our color correction and everything. This is why it's nice. You really only need 2 images. Let's see if you do it right. I'm trying to find one. Well, see, I still had reflections there. And I'm saying possibly the shoot through umbrella might have saved us on this, but we come in and we fix it with, and again, I'm at the 8600, but it's just a personal preference. So I go back and forth sometimes between that and a regular speed light. But that's it with those. With that one, and that one was blended to look like, let's see, which one is it? That right there. So I've created a preset single flash image, meaning if I only did just one flash pop to get the exposure, this is the settings that I use. And again, everything is still, you know, you still want to tweak it, maybe bring those oranges down so you don't have so much color cast, especially up in here. And that's about it for that one. Bring those blacks down a little bit more. Let's see, what else do we got? Here's just another standard bedroom. Ambient layer, flash layer, blend it in. You can do our interior final bump on this one too. And there you go. Let's try and see if auto does anything different. Nope. Auto is the same. Nice and clean. I don't have my orange and yellow. We can try dropping those down a little bit. And use the eyeball to see the before and after. That definitely tones the orange color cast. That gets your wall color a lot more accurate right there. So, you know, this is how fast you can roll through with just, you know, these presets and having everything organized and set over here for different methods that you use. So again, leave me a comment below. What is your favorite modifier for shooting the Flambient method? I'd love to hear it. I think everybody else would love to see or love to read about what other modifiers people are using. My go-to is, let me show you guys real quick. Okay, this is a shot I took just to demonstrate. This is the the Godox V1 with this LS Photography trifold umbrella. It's a 32-inch umbrella, I believe, and it folds down to that size. So that's what I love to use. It is super duper convenient. But like I said, leave me a comment below. Let me know what your favorite modifier is. What are you using to shoot that Flambient method? But again, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.